Welcome back. Late-night TV host Stephen Colbert claiming censorship after CBS told his team not to air an interview with Texas Senate candidate James Tallarico this week. Colbert suggesting on his show that the Trump administration was to blame. But FCC Chairman Brendan Carr said that's not true, telling Laura Ingraham last night it simply has to do with the agency's equal time rule for candidates. Watch this.
CBS was very clear that Colbert could run the interview that he wanted with that political candidate. They just said you may have to comply with equal time, which would have meant potentially giving airtime to Jasmine Crockett and another candidate. But instead of doing that, they claimed that they were victims.
Congresswoman Crockett, meanwhile, is running for Senate in Texas. She surprisingly is not blaming the Trump administration for the debacle. Here's what she said. Watch.
We did receive information suggesting that the federal government did not shut down this segment. It's because of a fear that the FCC may say something to them and that there may have been advice to just have me on and then they could clear the issue. It was my understanding that someone somewhere decided we just don't want to do that.
Well, Crockett's team says she was not even asked for an interview. A seething Colbert spoke Tuesday night about all the decisions made. Watch this.
We looked, and we can't find one example of this rule being enforced for any talk show interview, not only for my entire late-night career, but for anyone's late-night career going back to the 1960s. For the record, I'm not even mad. I really don't want an adversarial relationship with the network. I've never had one. I'm just so surprised that this giant global corporation would not stand up to these bullies. I don't even know what to do with this crap. Oh, hold on.
Well, CBS came out with this statement, quote, "The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Representative James Tallarico." Joining me now is former chairman of the FCC, Ajit Pai. Ajit, great to have you. Welcome back. Of course, this all in your wheelhouse. How did you feel when you saw all of this? What's your reaction?
Well, to be candid, I'm not in possession of all the facts. I know that there's been a lot of back and forth between the network and the show, and then potentially the network and the show and the FCC. And this is a very fluid situation involving enforcement of an FCC rule. So I can't really opine about the state of play right now or where it might go, unfortunately.
Well, what about the rule in terms of does the FCC require that you've got to have equal time when talking about Senate candidates?
My understanding of the rule is, as Chairman Carr enunciated it earlier, but it's been a while since I looked at those rules, of course, since I've not had occasion to do so recently. But again, it's a very fluid situation. It's very fact dependent. And so we'll have to see how it turns out.
President Trump speaking to voters in Rome, Georgia yesterday, talking about his economic agenda and how he's moving to lower prices for everyday Americans. Watch this.
With our pro-American economic growth and the use of tariffs, we've already secured commitments for over $18 trillion. The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election. 53, think of that. 53 days it was at an all-time record, adding $9 trillion in value. We've slashed a record number of job-killing regulations, cutting 129 old regulations for every one new regulation approved. Today, more Americans in the prime of their life are part of a labor force than at any time since 2001. Every day we're fighting to reduce costs and bring down prices for hardworking citizens. Affordability. Do you notice, what word have you not heard over the last 2 weeks? Affordability. Because I've won affordability. Now we have the hottest country. In 1 year, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Ajit, your reaction. How have President Trump's policies impacted communication services? You're the president of the Wireless Association, right?
Well, certainly commend President Trump for being laser focused on economic growth, job creation, and delivering better, cheaper services for American consumers. And the wireless industry has been leading the pack in that regard. We've long known that on the macro level. Wireless companies since President Trump's first term have invested an average of $30 billion a year, second largest source of private investment in the United States, and supports millions of jobs. But a recent report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that it's also delivering on the micro level for consumers. In fact, since President Trump took office last year, wireless prices are down by 6%. They're down 8% over its Biden era highs. The smartphones that we all use are down some 17%. And meanwhile, speeds are going up. Speeds are 50% faster now than they were on Inauguration Day last year. And Americans are using more data than ever before. In fact, a record amount used last year, a 32% increase over the year before. And that's just on the mobile side. We're also delivering in terms of home broadband competition. All these consumers across the United States who've been starved for competitive choice, now they finally have a chance to vote with their wallets, and they are. 99% of consumers who subscribe to broadband for the first time at home over the last 3 years have been choosing for 5G home broadband, fixed wireless. And so it's a really good story for affordability and more importantly, competitive choice throughout the entire economy. And this is going to be the platform in the future that supports more economic growth as things like AI develop on wireless platforms.
It's a great point, and of course it has led to a major demand for power, and the rise of power prices is becoming a salient political issue. You've got certain senators like Bernie Sanders and Richard Blumenthal saying no more data center build out right now because it's going to mean higher electricity prices. What are your thoughts on the impact of AI?
Well, certainly, I think that the use of AI is going to proliferate, and it's critical then to have the infrastructure to support it. And from a wireless perspective, what I can tell you is that the cutting through of the red tape by Chairman Carr, the FCC, and other administrative agencies, and the permitting reform, that there's a bipartisan impetus for this in Congress right now, will help clear the way for infrastructure that ultimately delivers economic growth and benefits for consumers. And of course, we want to make sure that we keep up in terms of responsible use of energy. And that's one of the things that the wireless industry can do by using these technologies to operate more efficiently that reduces the power load demands for wireless towers and other infrastructure. So I know this is a debate that's going forward across the country, but what I can tell you is that from a wireless perspective, we had traditionally been very responsible stewards of the airwaves and of the infrastructure over which Americans use a lot of these different wireless services these days.
All right, Ajit, we'll be watching your work. Thanks so much for being here. Ajit Pai joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you soon. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.